Well dear Lego fans, it's been a while, perhaps even a little bit too long, but I'm back, and certainly not for the last time. And for today's build, we have a character that needs no introduction, Optimus Prime. A set which I think is going to be really quite cool, because true to the original character, this Prime does transform into his truck, something which I'm really looking forward to seeing how it all comes together. So, without further ado, let's get this kit unboxed, get this build underway, so I can start playing with this Optimus Prime. I was curious how fast I was going to be able to build this kit, because it has been a while since I've done a speed build, but I'm really happy to see that my bricks per minute count is still right up there. Now, let's have a closer look at this Optimus Prime. For this Optimus Prime is the Optimus from my childhood. The one from those 80s cartoons, which, for my generation, was the one we rushed home to see after school, before we started our homework. Definitely not the live-action Michael Bay version, which needlessly changed shape and paint job, much to the dismay of fans like myself. This Prime's pretty square, blocky, and has a pretty simple paint job, as it should be. Starting up at the head, Optimus's iconic look kicks off with two antennae at the top, that little vent right in the forehead, his blue eyes, and that solid covering over his mouth. Coming down to his chest, we have the cab windows, which, if you open them up, exposes the matrix of leadership, which is of course removable. Off in the shoulder, we've got a little bit of Autobot branding, which I'm happy to say comes on a printed piece and not a sticker. And I'm also quite pleased to report that all the joints in the arm, shoulder, elbow, and wrist all have a good range of motion. Down to the hand, we have 3 fingers and 1 thumb, with all 3 fingers being joined together with a 1x3 plate at the end, which does make it pretty solid, but it also kind of gives you just one giant digit. Remove that plate, and you've got your 3 individual fingers. Ultimately, you might not even care, because one hand can be swapped out for his battle axe, and the other one firmly gripping his blaster. Now, what Transformers toy would be complete if it couldn't transform? and this Optimus Prime is no exception. While there are a few differences, this Optimus can transform down to his flat-nosed truck in much the same way as the classic 80s toys did. In this mode, he's pretty much what you see is what you get. There aren't any hidden or extra features. The cab windows still open up, exposing the matrix of leadership, but there's nothing that pops out, there's no steering, just rolling back and forth. Unfortunately, his jetpack, hands, and battle axe don't transform down into the truck. So you'll need to store these separately off to the side, along with this nice little energon cube. But there is a nice little spot for his blaster, tucked in the center of his flatbed. Finally, much in the way of other display and UCS kits, this set comes with a little display plaque, giving you some of Optimus Prime's stats. As to LEGO elements of note in this build, there were actually 3 pieces that I thought were worth mentioning. First we have 636, 5679, and 636, 9944, both of which are elements that are used in Optimus's joints, giving his arms a pretty fantastic and wide range of motion. And 618, 5551, which is a tiny little silicone piece that fits nicely into a Technics pinhole, and in this case is used on the bottom of Optimus Prime's feet, giving him a little grip or traction, making him very stable as he stands there. I could also see how it'd be very useful as a bumper to lessen the blow if you're trying to build something that takes a little bit of an impact. All in all, I think this is a fantastic kit. It's quite clear to me that this was designed with the AFOLs in mind, someone like myself who's quite happy to hand their money over to LEGO so they can proudly display some of their childhood nostalgia. Because I think it's pretty safe to say that, first and foremost, this is the display kit. Standing at about 34 centimeters or roughly 14 inches tall, and in his bright red colors, Prime is a very recognizable figure. And not just with my generation. Since its release in the 80s, and not counting any of the movies, there are over 30 different Transformers TV shows out there, and I'm sure they're not done making more. Which I would venture to say makes Prime almost as recognizable generation to generation as Darth Vader. But as a play kit, this set doesn't score very well. I'll certainly never tell you what you can and can't play with, and to an active imagination, there's a lot of potential here. But as far as LEGO play kits go, there are definitely much better options out there. I'm just hoping that this particular kit ends up being quite popular, because I think there's a lot of potential for future releases here. There are dozens of other classic Transformers out there that I'm sure people would love to see. I'm sure many people will be rooting for Bumblebee. Megatron would probably be high on this list as well, but personally, I'd love to have Soundwave. He was always my favorite Decepticon. So let's wait and see. Because while I am doing fewer releases these days, another Transformer would be a set I'd be happy to present to you guys. So on that note, if you have enjoyed what you saw here today and would like to be informed when the next release comes out, please like and or subscribe to this page. I'd really appreciate your support, and it's the best way to keep on top of my latest releases. Until then, happy building and have a good one.